Howdy folks, welcome to the channel. I've got a smile on that could be classified as a nostalgic smile and a grateful smile. And Kyle Perkins made a gift to the channel for me to do this one. It's Billy Dean's Only the Wind. And why it's a nostalgic and great, well, first off, Kyle, thank you for the gift and this request. But Kyle wanted me to react to the artist that got me started on my country journey. And I'm humbled and honored that you even remembered that, Kyle. I've mentioned it a few times, but Billy Dean is the artist that actually got me very curious about country music. And my story goes like this, that it was like I was a rock dude. That's even the impetus for the name of the channel, Rock into Country. I went from rock into country, but I was rock the first 50 years of my life. And I'm 63 now. And I was just driving around somewhere in the 90s, and 1995, somewhere around there, 98, I don't remember when. And it might have been a Sunday. And I'm listening to a rock station. I'm turning stations, and I flip it on to NEW, WNEW. For those of you on the West Coast, we do W's, you do K's. And it's a rock station, and I hear this beautiful ballad. I enter like mid-song, maybe a third of the way into the song, something like that. And it's Billy Dean's You Don't Count the Cost. Now, I don't know the song. I'd never heard it, but I'm like, man, this is beautiful. And I kind of wanted to turn it, like in my mind, I'm like, this isn't like this typical rock jam, but I always liked good ballads. And I think Lynyrd Skynyrd and the Allman Brothers probably set me up for that. And because I love their ballads, like really well done ballads, like Tuesday's Gone by Skynyrd, Coming Home by Skynyrd, Ballad of Curtis Lowe, these kinds of things. Allman Brothers, you just name it. I mean, they're just beautiful songs. So I keep listening to it, and I'm like, God, these lyrics are just unbelievable. And whatever that instrument is in the background there, and I think it had steel in it. And you don't count the cost. Just I'm listening to this, and I've been very involved at the time in a Bible study group for several years. And so in the end, when it's like, if you ever doubt it, just think about the cross. I'm like, oh, good God, I got to find out who this artist is. So I keep listening, wait to the end of the song, hoping the DJ mentions who the artist is, and he doesn't. They just go into the next song or a commercial or whatever they did. And I'm like, crap, I've got to find out. None of my friends listen to country, though, at the time. And so I'm like, how do I even, and, Google didn't really exist in any condensed form such that you could do a word search. So now I'm just going to keep at it, try to find out who and how. And it took me a couple of years before I was able to find out who it was. And so I find out it's Billy Dean. I go buy his CD, but while I'm looking at country CDs, I grabbed Merle's greatest hits, I grabbed Alan Jackson's greatest hits, and I grabbed Cherie Austin, because I'd heard a song by Cherie Austin in the dance studio that my ex-wife and I used to own and run. We founded this studio. And there was a song by Cherie Austin titled One Solitary Tear. So I've got two songs that just blew my doors off by two separate country artists. And then I listened to the other songs on their albums. And now I got Merle and Allen. And I'm like, holy crap, this is good. So I was still a rock dude, but I had these in my car. I'd pop them in once in a while. And then sometime later, I got into Nashville country when a friend of mine, Frankie Ballard, got a record deal. He got a songwriting deal first, but I knew Frankie before he was even in Nashville. And then I started getting more into country, and then I started the channel, and here we are today. But Billy Dean was the first. And so one day I'm going to get to talk with Billy. Maybe he'll show up on my channel. I think he's down in Florida now, so I'll do like a remote thing. But when I have time to get into that and keep it going. But Kyle, so there's my whole story and why I'm humbled, grateful, thankful, and nostalgic. And this was on that album of Billy's that had Billy the Kid on it. Of course, You Don't Count the Cost. What was it? Hammer Down, Daddy's Love, songs like this. And now Only the Wind is what I'm doing. So it's a review, but it's been a long time since I've heard this one.
I remember as a child on a dark and stormy night, I heard the screen door slam and I was overcome with fright. So afraid that something bad was trying to get in.
It captures it.
Mama came to comfort me and said, it's only the wind.
I love his voice.
Not the end of the world knocking at the door. So close your eyes and dream again. Believe me, it's only the wind.
This was really well produced, this song.
Every time I've had to face a bitter storm of life, those words of comfort were my shelter in the night. But tonight I don't believe I'm able to pretend the storm that you and I are up against is only the wind.
There's a lot going on in there.
I can hear you downstairs and you're just about to leave. There's nothing else that I can do to keep you here with me, no. And now the screen door's slamming and I'm frightened once again. What I wouldn't give if I could be convinced it's only the wind and nothing more. Not the end of the world.
Yeah, man.
Walking out the door, I wish that I could dream again. Believing it's only the wind. Oh, and nothing more. Not the end of my world.
My world.
Walking out the door, I wish that I could dream again, believing it's only the wind.
The thing about divorce or relationships ending like this is it is the death of dreams. I mean, you had dreams that started it, that this is the person, and you set things in motion to build upon the foundation of life and to accomplish certain things. And then when that breaks, those dreams are done. The hopes are done. It is crushing. But the tying to dreams is very well done. Thing underneath it. Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was steel there or just guitar with slide maybe. Yeah, Kyle, good call on that, my friend, and I'm just humbled and thankful. It brings me back. It brings me back about 30 years to the beginning of my country journey. And I mean, of course, John Denver, you know, he played on every radio station, and so we all were introduced to country elements. I mean, I was into the Allman Brothers and Skinner. There were some country elements in there, being Southern rock. And, you know, the storylines in there certainly had more meat on the bones than a lot of other songs. I mean, the Stones had meat on their bones too, but I wasn't into them. And I wasn't never into Springsteen. He's a good songwriter, but I was never into that. So my exposure when I was younger, of course, would have been like, John Denver, but then it jumped to Allman Brothers, Skynyrd, Outlaws, the Grateful Dead. Jerry Garcia was in a bluegrass band before he founded the Dead with Bob Weir. And all that said, so there was some exposure that may have broken down the walls later, but it was the lyrics and the storyline and the beauty and the sensitivity. There was a masculinity and a sensitivity with which Billy sang and still sings to this day. But on these albums that roped me in at that time, this is one of the reasons I say that the dynamic of life, it is so much of life hinges upon sort of right place, right time, certain things happening that you didn't anticipate, you never thought of. I'm flipping radio. I'm flipping stations on the radio that given moment that this song is playing. I happen to be in my car. If I wasn't in my car, I might not be in the country today. Maybe I would, maybe not. You just don't know. But that timing was like, wow, of You Don't Count the Cost. And I turned a number of friends onto that song, including my friends Sophia and Savada. She's a world-class vocalist, and she's a folk singer. Armenian folk singer, world class. She's very well known in her country, but she lives south of Nashville in Franklin. When I played this song for them, they just stopped and said, they'd been in the States at that point for about 10 years, and they said, we have not heard a song yet that made us feel like we were back in our country, and this is the first one that has done it. You Don't Count the Cost. Think about that. And now we have Only the Wind on the channel. So do I even want to rate this? I mean, I'm gonna rate the song. I am. It's something that I do with songs. There was a lot more going on instrumentally with this, and that I first remembered. I knew it had some beauty to it and sort of things, but there was mandolin-like instrument, but not mandolin. There was a steel-like instrument in there, but it wasn't steel. I couldn't quite figure it out. There was an organ-like instrument, and maybe it was that sort of came in underneath, but with sort of like higher, breathier tones, however you would say it. But the number that popped into my head is a 9.0. This is a song going from childhood where mom could kiss your boo-boos and make it all better. She could tell you just go to bed and hug you, and you learn to trust that you can go to sleep again and not be scared. But then real life hits you, and a relationship isn't working, and you can't fix it, and you're scared. And I know that feeling, and many of us do. So anyhow, Billy, should you see this, now you know my story. And one of these days, maybe we'll get this thing together. If you're up for it, I'd be up for it. All right, folks. Thank Kyle Perkins for that. I sure do. Have a great day. I'll see you in another video. Keep rocking the country. Amen.